Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the afternoon session of the 3A's Ninja Awesomeness, Ninja Style Back Safety and Injury Prevention. On behalf of American Society of Safety Engineers, I welcome you to the session. Again, thanks for your attention. And please join me to welcome the speaker for this afternoon, Ms. Laurie Frederick. She's with Balance Biomechanics from Littleton, Colorado. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. 10 years ago, I got a phone call that changed the way that I do business. 6 years before that, I was lucky enough to find my passion and what I love to do. I had one particular client, kind of a favorite client. He was 57 and he could barely spread his feet wider than a wastebasket. So I'd have this exercise that we'd step over the wastebasket and on the other side of it. And he had a really hard time even getting the width of the wastebasket. Turns out he needs hip replacements, both of them, at 57. My favorite client turns out to be my dad. And I got to work with him throughout this process. At 6 weeks, my dad was on the golf course and golfing with me. It was really great success of being proactive about things and kind of challenging the status quo of what was going on. Fast forward a couple years, I have a couple of kids. My dad, I'm still working with, sprained his wrist. Like, how did you do that? He's like, well, I fell on the golf course. I'm like, did you fall backwards? He's like, yeah, I put my hand down to catch me. Does everybody know that when you fall down backwards, you are not supposed to put your hands down to catch you? You know that, right? But it's something that you kind of need to work on. So, he was like a guinea pig. It was great. We worked on falling and rolling. I'm a former gymnast, so we went through a squat and a low squat and then a tuck and roll, and we did backward rolls and we did forward rolls, and we went through what I call functional movement, because it's functional, it's useful, it teaches him good habits. So to the phone call. My dad called me and he was in Hawaii. He was kind of scared and kind of excited, and I really wasn't sure where to take this phone call. I was a little worried. He was like, no, I stepped in the hole and it threw me forward. And I tucked and I rolled and I stood back up and nothing happened. He's like, I was such a jock. I was like, no, you were such a ninja. And it was just this, component of the idea. It's a be, it's an attitude. The ninja comes from a way that it's often easier to describe everything all at once. To say ninja mode rather than make sure your posture's good and you bend your knees and you do all those things. So that's how it changed my business and how I eventually got into the safety world and could spread the news to so many more people. The 3 A's. Can anyone guess what the 3 A's might be? Think ninja. Awesomeness. Attitude. Agility is part of one of the other ones, because yes, I love agility. Awareness. Action. You guys are good. So what do these look like? Attitude. Awareness. And action. If anyone can see this photo down here, what does that look like these people are doing? Good. I'm glad that you guys are not actually saying yoga. Because yoga, when I'm bringing it to field workers, I will not say the Y word. I specialize with folks that work in the field, boots on the ground, oil and gas, manufacturing, construction. And if I come in and I say, we're going to do yoga, they will turn and run like nothing else. But if I say we're going to do some ninja mobility, oh yeah, look what I can get them to do. Just saying. Don't call it that. It's mobility. That's how I speak from now on. So, attitude. Ninjas. When you see them coming, it's already too late. Right? I love this picture because it's the opposites of which cat would you rather be? Would you rather be the ninja cat? Or would you rather be compliant, not very proactive, just going about their day kind of cat? I love being ninja cat. It's just kind of my personality. Now I know not everybody has that personality. So attitude in itself is more about how you take on your day, how you start your day, how you work with your coworkers. We've all worked around the grumpy coworker, right? That's just a little too much and it rubs off. Guess what? Being a little more upbeat, a little more positive rubs off also. So I say swarming at them and, majority rules, right? So how you take on the day also affects how you feel. It affects your systems. There's so many different great wellness connections out there that you can go with, right? Stress relief, things like that. So attitude as a whole goes in this realm. The other place that I like to take it, and because I'm in safety now and I really had to have my own acronym, is body pride, personal responsibility, and daily effort. And that I believe that the workers are personally responsible for themselves and their body. We can provide all these tools to give them and fabulous ergonomic solutions and all these great things. They have to use them, right? It's up to them to do it. We can't hold their hands through that. So I'm really big on personal responsibility and having them understand enough that they have the tools to do it themselves. Awareness. Okay, this is kind of the biggest A, is awareness, because it has a lot incorporated in it. And I split it up into awareness of your posture, awareness of your movement, and awareness of your mobility. Okay, so mobility is flexibility with movement. It's your active flexibility. Okay, so your mobility is what I mean when I talk about that. So to give a little anatomy knowledge and talk about posture. This is anatomical position. Okay, like you've seen the muscle charts at the doctor's office. Palms forward, upright, anatomical position. Who in here might think that they are behind a computer, I guess it would be in front of a computer, behind a wheel, way too much than they want to be? Okay, just kind of had to make the assumption, because if we think about perfect ergonomics for, say, the desk, which we can go with driving as well. If you drive too much, it's somewhat the same thing. So if we go with perfect ergonomics, can you help me figure out which body parts are out of anatomical position and what I call home base? So if this is home base, you don't have to know like the specific anatomy things, but tell me what's going on and what's different than home base. Elbows are bent, hands are down, knees are bent, hips are bent. Okay? Yes, wrists are rotated, elbows are bent, depends on where you're set up. Here, so the hips are extended, knees are bent, depending on your shoes, on where your ankles are at. Okay, so because this is something that I usually try to adapt to the audience, and so because I made the assumption that you all are sitting down a little more than you would like to be, I want to make sure that I tell you about these muscles, which a lot of you brought up the fact that the wrists are down. The pronator quadratus and the pronator teres that are up there, the ones that actually pronate your hand. When you're driving, that's active as well. So that muscle is shortened in that position. And if you can imagine, borrow your arm for a second. But if I'm going to take some tension, it's pronating and giving tension pronated. So guess what the rest of your arm is going to be doing? It's going to be rotating inwardly into this posture. What happens with this little muscle, I want to tell you about it because on the handout that I have for you, there is the first one, which is the reverse plank. That helps stretch that muscle. And also the last one, the wall stretch, helps stretch that muscle. So do that a couple times during the day and I guarantee that your neck and shoulders will feel better. Funny little connection on that one. So I wanted to make sure I gave you that little goodie to take with you. I also have those instructions on how to do this on my YouTube channel so you can see them in action. But so if that's creating your arm to rotate inward, and we know that not everybody has the greatest head on shoulders posture, right? We all have one of these, and how's everybody looking at it? Right? If the average weight of the human head, what they're calling 12 pounds, depending on how much brain you have in it, right? Who knows how they do that? Every inch forward it comes off of home base, it exponentially gets heavier torque on your body. Okay? So we become out of home base and out of balance. Right? So actually muscles in the back of the neck actually get longer and they'll lock long. Muscles in the front get shorter and they lock short because the human body is great at the path of least resistance. And it's going to get good at the posture that you're in the most. And it's going to get efficient at that. Okay, so I hope that everybody gets a little bit better at their posture. And whenever you look at your phone, now that you've been here, I want you to do like this. Or guess what? You can set your arms on something and everyone thinks that you're taking their picture. But that's okay. Because it's fun that way, right?
Like this.
The throwing?
Throw the phone.
Throw the phone. I like that. But then if you need it, don't we all need it? We're way too attached to it, right? So taking this out of your occupational posturing, think for me what might be a occupation that has head forward mixed with overactive forearms. So using your hands a lot.
Doing assembly at a bench.
Assembly at a bench.
Carpenter.
Carpenters.
Jewelry or like putting together a small electronic component. That's what I'm trying to figure out how to there's exact like that.
Yeah. Over here, this is great posture, right?
The-
So you need like a pillow. Right here they have some ergonomic pillow.
Bend like that.
Little massage thing. Yeah, that'd be great. Somebody get on that. So yeah, so I work with welders. Oh man, it's really hard to fix that posture, right? Manufacturing. Okay, it's the oil and gas manufacturing, but I love how the level is up at a good level, right? But it's a repetitive motion of the hands, and you've got to look at what he's doing. Okay, and here the trails crew for the National Park Service, and what they're doing all the time don't always have the most fabulous posture set up, right? So what I like to talk about is corrections. When we can't find, there's great solutions for ergonomics out there and very great things that you can engineer, but when we can't find anything to engineer, you don't have the room to build anything or anything like that, corrections are what I like. So, like I said, this is the third exercise on your handout. It's called the wall stretch. Okay? It's a really great one. Put your hand on the wall. I'll have you stand up all later. Okay? That your fingertips are pointing backwards behind you. And so I'm opening up the hand, the forearm, the elbow, the shoulder, beginning to get the neck. You can give it a little in. Okay? Many muscles at one time. I'm all about efficiency. You know? This one? Do we all know about this stretch? Okay, what am I missing on this stretch? It's kind of important. And our opposable thumbs. is good as well, but the thumbs, for people who are working with tools all the time, it's really important to also get that. So the flat hand, even that reverse bridge, is another one that I'll give a lot to help get the hand stuff going on, right? So going back to awareness and awareness of your movement. We've all seen it. We all know to lift with our legs, not our back, right? So we catch people all the time lifting with their back, right? So the proper way to lift is essentially a squat, okay? When you're lifting at the gym or things like that, it's a squat lift. There's a lot of different things that are going into the squat lift, and I want you to pay attention to the joint angles that are going on. The hip, the knee, the ankle. We all have to have a really good range of motion going on right here, yes? Okay? I know a lot, and especially in the aging workforce, they don't really like to have their knees and their hips bend that much. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to get to the floor the most efficient way possible. You know, these are healthy folks that we're talking about. But you have to fight the instinct of efficiency of your body. Path of least resistance, right? This is a lot of resistance. Okay, squats, that's one of your other exercises on your page. Guess what? Squats, really great to do. If you stand a lot for your job, it's the last thing you're probably thinking about. All of us walking around so much here at the convention, guess what's really good for you to do? Squat. It gets more circulation, it gets more muscles going, it gets rocking legs. We do them a lot. Okay? Take the stairs. Enjoy that. So the path of least resistance is what we're trying to fight, but also to have people be more aware of what they're doing and how they're lifting. Okay? So you might bend the knees a little bit, but it's not quite getting the job done, right? So if we compare a lift side by side, and we figure out, does anyone have in their companies a maximum lift that they're supposed to lift? What is it? 50 pounds? 40?
35.
35, 75. What industry is that? Manufacturing? Okay. I have some in manufacturing as well. But what's the problem then with craft hands who have to carry a 140-pound chicken? And then manufacturing that has to carry or lift something that's 60 pounds. So this lift of 140 pounds versus this lift of 60 pounds, which one do you think is better? Doing 140 pounds correctly and the way that you're made to is way better than incorrectly lifting a lesser weight. So I agree that you need some sort of a standard, at least to get people to think about a max lift. However, how they do the lifting is what we really want to get them aware of, okay? And their awareness of movement. And so what I love to tell people in any of these industries all the time, especially crack hands, I'm like, this is like CrossFit Central, because this is your gym, this is your world, you know? If you just lift it and then maybe take a couple extra, okay? Rocking legs. I'm all about keeping a rocking bod and still eating tacos and drinking margaritas. That's why I work out. Okay, so then moving into your awareness of your mobility. Okay, and mobility is your movement and your flexibility combined, and how your body's going to set you up for your lifting. These funny little lines actually have meaning when we talk about functional movement. When they do, there's a whole different world of functional movement screening and a lot of different ways to assess someone's functional movement. I kind of have a hodgepodge of things that I will pull from, but ideally, you want to have your spine angle and your shin angle parallel when you're squatting. Okay, whether your arms are up or not. So at first, I can do an assessment and I see that we're having a cross at the top, that we have a little too much forward lean, which is very common. Okay, this one is the most common. And then what did I change? Back to back, same place, same thing. What did I change to the second assessment? There's something under the heels, right? So all you have to do is have all your workers wear high heels to work. No. So you can take that and get a little more information that, hey, all of a sudden you change the foot and it's actually the ankle mobility that was the problem here. Work on ankle mobility, stretching the calf, figuring out from the foot, maybe the hamstrings, things like that. But by just doing a couple of those things, you can help all of a sudden create this better lift by addressing the source of the problem. Okay, and the overhead lift is something to where I like to put in, because that teaches you a little bit about fascia. Has anybody heard of fascia? Okay, fascia is something in the body that surrounds the muscles and the muscular system. A muscle is made up of a bunch of muscle fibers, like dried spaghetti noodles, if you hold them in your hand, they're all in one direction. Fascia wraps each of those fibers, the groups of fibers, the whole muscle itself, and it helps connect the whole body together like a web. Okay? So, the thing is about the aging workforce. The thing about fascia is that it acts a lot like plastic wrap, in that if you put two dried pieces of plastic wrap together, what happens? It sticks together, right? So, but if you can put something in between, maybe lubricate it a little bit, okay, you have no problem. Same thing in your body. The movement creates the lubrication and things like that. There's other things in scar tissue that goes into creating adhesions, but when we start out and we're young, our fascia is a little bit like fruit roll-ups. Right? Can you believe these colors lately that are in fruit roll-ups? Holy cow. Okay? It's pliable, it's bendable, it's really nice, flexible. Okay? Unfortunately, as we get a little older, it looks a little more like nature. Because it's a little more dehydrated, it takes a little longer to warm up, you can still get a little motion out of it, things like that. Okay? And it's a good visual. If you've hunted or gone to the grocery store and hit the rotisserie chicken, maybe cooked or something like that, all that clear stuff that's around it, that's fascia. Okay? But so it's like a web in your body, and when you add a different stretch to it, you can often find the places where the problem is. That's a whole other presentation to go into. Okay. So why would I want to know about this? Is because it affects how people lift and what their habits are and what they're going through, right? So one of these kids is doing it right. I don't know if you can see well enough on this picture, the other one was bigger, but you can see that this gentleman is the one actually bending his knees. Okay, so to fix anything on the front end from the movement end will help people learn how to be more efficient and move properly on the far end of things. The other one that I can test is the shoulder range of motion. Does anybody do the pre-hire post? The testing for range of motion? And the shoulder especially? Like shoulders are a really common injury. I didn't see many hands go up. Do you guys know what I'm talking about to do the range of motion testing? Do you know why it's important? So you don't pay for it later, right? Because you want to know kind of what you're hiring on. Because for most people these days, unfortunately, this first picture, that's normal. Okay, it's pretty common for most people in here. I'll challenge you to go back to your hotel tonight and inside the room and see if you can get lined up and down through the side of your body. Okay, so that's kind of normal. So if someone's injured and their shoulder's injured and workman's comp comes along and wants to fix it, they're trying to get it back to you, guess what? 100%. They've never been there. most likely. Okay, so that's just my little side pitch. I really like those testing. So I don't do that. Other people do that way better than I do. But why do I care about shoulder range of motion? Does anybody do overhead work? Okay, work above the head. What happens? Whoa. What happens when you're doing overhead work and you have this kind of shoulder range of motion that's on the side? Okay. Drive over. Guess what? So if I have this kind of shoulder range of motion and I need to reach above my head, guess where I'm going to bend? Do you see where I bend? So you missed that. And here, it doesn't go any further. Oh, guess what? I have to bend at my back to get my arms up there. The back is not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do it here. Okay, so you want to keep within range. So it's important to have people understand that. You know, we're not miracle workers. We can't all of a sudden get them here. Sometimes we can. This is actually before and after a 1 hour massage. Not the fluffy stuff either, sorry. The more kind of ART style thing. I like those. This is really good techniques to use to help people out. But you can educate your workers about that and understand that. Guess what? This is maybe why your back hurts during the day, and here's maybe a few corrective exercises or stretches that you should do at the end of your day, maybe at lunchtime. Just counteract what you're doing, because we can't fix it all the time. We've got to get work done, right? It's kind of important. All right, so what was my first A? Attitude. What was my second A? Awareness. Third A is action. Here's where you all get to wake up a little bit. Okay, so I usually do this, and you can have your chairs individually. So we're going to get creative. And I'd like you just to eyeball it. Don't fall asleep. We are going to be standing up. I'm going to show you the slide of what we're going to be doing. I can see you excited building. Oh my goodness! Okay, but because we're cold and we've been sitting here for a while, guess what we need to do? Warm up. Why do you want to warm up before we stretch? So we don't hurt ourselves into anything. This is an injury prevention session. Please, I want to trust that you all know your limits. If someone has a shoulder problem or things like that, if you feel screeching pain, please don't do anything. Okay? All right, with that disclaimer, okay, we're going to do something like this. We're going to warm up a little bit first. You use a chair. You use the back of your car sometimes. You can use whatever you want. But today we're going to use the chair. So the people on the ends kind of have an advantage. I have all this room up front that we're going to do. And then, so on the ends, and you can sit and watch and feel really guilty if you want to. Okay? But we're first going to start as a warm-up and kind of an assessment. So I want you to stand in front of your chair. I'm going to unhook this one so I can give you a demo. If anyone can see me. You couldn't see me behind the chair anyway. Okay, so you're going to stand in front of your chair and have enough room, hopefully, to kind of sit on the front of it, because we're going to squat. Squatting is one of the best warm-ups out there. Okay, so I want you to have your hands a little bit forward because it helps you balance. Good job, you figured out how to dismantle this. You're going to get in trouble. Okay, so I want you to do about 10 squats. Okay, you just start warming up. If you want to start with small ones, start with small ones, and then work your way bigger. But I want you to pay attention and awareness. Where do you feel the work? Where do you feel the pain? Do you hear anything? Okay, where do you feel it? Okay, everybody stop, freeze, look at your feet. Where are your feet? Are your toes turned out? Are they straight? Okay, is one out and the other one is straight? Okay, this is information. This is what you need to have done. We're going to change it up a little bit. I want you to try it with the reach and feel the difference. Your palms are going to face each other. Okay, so we have good shoulder range. You don't have to be straight up. Don't force it. You can straighten a little bit out and squat again. 3, 4, 5. See if it feels different. Do you still feel the work in the same place? Any aches and pains in the same place? Are you louder? More creaks? More moans? Okay, and then relax. Okay, so pay attention to how that felt. All right, and now we're going to go through the other one, and I think I'm going to jet to the back of the room, and because I'm going to have you all turn around and face your chair. Dun, dun, dun. Steal this chair. All right, so we're all going to start with our right foot. I'll kind of move my way up a little bit, but I have this on the picture too, so if you can't see me, I want you to start with your right foot on the chair. Hopefully nobody has dirty, muddy shoes like I usually do at trains. Okay, and you're going to reach towards the back of your chair. Hopefully you all that are hooked together, this will not move over, but those of you who are not connected, okay, be careful. But I want you, because I want you to bend forward enough to where you get a stretch in the left front of your hip. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So if the hands are kind of on the inside of your front knee, we are going to take the left hand and open. Watch your neighbor, please. Okay. Open to the left. Okay. We're still in the lunge. We're opening to the left, and we're going to take a deep breath because it feels good and it stretches you from the inside. And then you're going to come back home base. And then we're going to slowly go to the right. Watch your neighbor. Stay in your lunge. Everybody look back at your right knee. Did it follow you around? It loves to do that. Loves to do that. Take a deep breath. And relax. Home base. If you have good balance or if you have a good neighbor next to you, I want you to prop up on your heel with it in front of you. Some of you in the middle of the row can maybe take a little angle sideways. Okay? The thing about this is kind of a classic hamstring stretch, okay, to reach for your foot. I would rather have your spine straight than your knees straight. I want everybody to think that they have a broomstick from their head to their tail and then kind of take a bow. So if you need to bend your knee, please do. And you should feel a hamstring stretch out of that. Yes or no? Okay, check your headlights is what I call them, your pelvis. Make sure it's pointed at your foot. If you're not driving down some weird road over here, you're driving on the foot road. There you go. Okay, so put that down. We got to do the other leg so we don't walk in circles. That's not good marketing when you come out of here. Left foot up. We're reaching towards the chair. You can kind of wiggle your right foot back a little bit. Bending the front knee, bending the front knee. So put the foot flat on the chair. There we go. And then try to touch here. So can you bend your left knee? No, this one. Yes. Yes! You got it. And then touch the chair. Yep, you got it. All right, so that should get a good stretch in the front of the hip. This is great if you sit too much, okay? Just saying. All right, so we have both our hands on the chair, and we're gonna go open to the right. Open to the right, watch your neighbor, or if they hit you, you can hit them back. All right, take a deep breath. Gently, of course, because hey, we're going to the other side. And open to the other side, to the left. Watch your knee, check it out. Did it follow you around? All right, stay there, take a deep breath on this side. Come back to home base. This is where we balance a little bit, or you use your neighbor or the chairs in front of you. We do that hamstring stretch again. Kind of take a bow forward. Make sure your hips are facing your foot. They love to turn away from it. Okay, there are 3 hamstring muscles. Just so you know, there's not just one big one back there, there's 3. And then relax. A straight posture when you're stretching your thing. You want to work out in the posture that you want to keep. That makes sense? So I've seen people work out this crazy posture and that's not the one you want to keep. Okay, guess what? I'm going back to the front of the room. You're going to stand in front of your chairs. Dun, 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 dun. Are you ready? We're going to squat again. Your choice whether you want your hands forward or your hands up. Okay, ready? Set yourself up and go. Does anybody feel any different? I heard one yes. Everyone else is just like, what am I feeling? I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, then you can have a seat and we're going to talk about it. Good job, you guys. Yeah, you're still going. You're going to have those talking legs. Because you're going to have some more freedom to talk, right? Okay. Who felt better? Who felt worse? Please don't feel bashful because sometimes that happens. I can't get every stretch into that mobility, but I get most. Okay, because sometimes, just so you know, I have had somebody who it didn't feel as good and they needed more of like a quad stretch, front of the leg thing. Why do you think that felt better? Show me hands, you guys, there's lots of you. Yeah.
Oxygen and blood flows.
Blood flow, yes. Circulation. Remember, beef jerky? You might still have a little bit of young fruit roll-up people in here, but okay. Warm it up. Get a little range of motion, circulation, lubrication, and things start to feel better. Okay. So this is an easy thing. We took a while to explain it the first time, but guess what? How long this maybe takes to do 10, 12 squats, go through this motion. Don't even have to do the squats on the back end. That was just for magic purposes. Okay? Go through that. So it doesn't take very long to do. That's why I also do it for when you don't have a chair around. And I really would love to kind of bring stretch and flex from construction sites out of the 80s. It really needs it. To make it something that is faster, more functional, and just more efficient. And honestly, a little more badass on work site. Maybe they'll do it more. Just saying. So I do. If any of you want this, I have this as a PDF. I'm happy to send it to you. You can work on it. If you need more explanation, I can do a video explanation, or you can do your own or whatever based on this. Do me a favor and drop your card with me, and I will email it to you. You can have that. Okay, either one, whichever one. If you want one that has a chair with or without a chair. Okay, but who here drives a lot for their work? Okay, guess what you get to do at the gas stations when you're filling up with gas? Yeah, that time it takes for you to fill up your tank, guess what? You can have your foot on that back bumper. It's really easy on your car to do that, and honestly, it feels really good on the back. Okay? So why am I telling you? Yeah, and then people won't come talk to you or anything because they're like, what are you doing? We're from Colorado, they might think something else too. But maybe not. So why am I telling you this, and why does this have to do with why we're all here? Saving money, really, or the cost of doing everything. Whether you want to pay up front or pay on the back end. You want to pay for it now or pay for it later, right? Who has more slip trips and falls? Who has more shoulders, knees, hips, back? Lots of backs, okay? Not so serious back strains, very serious back strains. Like 50-50 on that one. So I want to have some discussion, but my general statement for back injuries especially is where you think it is, it isn't, as far as the source of the problem and the pain. You gotta look elsewhere. It's not the back problem, okay? It's a movement problem, usually. So, does anyone have sort of a stretch and flex program going right now or any sort of thing like this? How are you finding that it's working? Are they doing it and active in it?
Yeah. And about 3 years ago, we started static, now with the process going dynamic, which is a huge difference.
Okay, because they were static stretching versus dynamic stretching. Do you guys know the difference between that? Static stretching is a little more of a sit and hold for a long time. Dynamic stretching is the more where you're adding some movement to things, kind of thing.
The dynamic is going to be a huge impact on buy-in over the snap.
As far as buy-in, why do you think that's the difference? Because it's just they feel the difference?
Your movement, your part of it, it's not the same stuff from 1972.
Right.
You know, so we're doing
Nice health supplements, like
about
we're saying, we're about
3,000 employees.
Right.
I mean, that's impossible getting the individual to do it on their own without being directed.
To force it, it's impossible to get the individual to do it on their own without being directed.
Almost.
If they're
I don't-
motivated, I mean, you gotta remember too, if you exercise regularly and you stretch, you actually feel better. And with a lot of people, that's enough
It's a
motivation.
light bulb
Right.
moment.
What I'm trying to do is, how do you convince employer to, instead of letting them go out for a smoke for 15 minutes and telling me I don't have time for this, which I guess you do.
I don't want to get creative, and guess what?
Kind of defeats the purpose.
You know, it is, but in the lesser of two evils, I don't know.
That was great.
Think outside the box, right? The click moment. Smoking and stretch. Smoke and stretch. Go for it. Yeah, sorry.
That was beautiful.
How long should you hold the reverse bridge stretch? Same question for the wall stretch.
The wall stretch, I like. These are static to some degree, but I always like to add a little bit of movement to them. As far as, here, this is good. So I'm going to hold this, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to bend and straighten my arm. I'm going to turn and do this. So add a little contract, relax to it for 20 seconds. If you have it, I'll take it for 5. You know, it'll do something.
Reverse bridge?
Reverse bridge, same kind of thing. The reverse bridge is fun because, I might lose my mic, okay? The reverse bridge, especially on a chair, you can hold, this one feels good, and your head can go back, however, but you can, as long as you're on a good chair, you can take this into a motion. I always like adding a little motion to things. Somebody can't see that, but I'll take what I can get, what people are doing, and however often. I think frequency is maybe a little more important than how long you're holding it.
And how many steps should it be?
As many as you can get in during the day. I mean, if you're spending, so say it's an office or a driver, and you're spending 8 hours, and you're trying to counteract it with these stretches, as many times as you can get it to where you're maybe not feeling that burning in the back of your neck anymore, or things like that. Oh, drivers. If you're driving, do we all drive to work, to and from? Everybody have a car? We know what the car looks like. Okay, when you're driving, there's something behind your head. What's it called? Headrest. What's it for? Rest in your head. Who uses it for headrest? And rest their head. For everybody going in the mobile, right? Got that going on? Or who actually uses their headrest when they drive? Sometimes. Guess what? It's a great time. How long you're in your car? The exercise is called a chin tuck. Okay, put your head back on your shoulders. Oftentimes, I'll tell people to put their head back on their shoulders. You do a posture assessment, like against the wall. They have this posture, and I'm like, can you put your head back on the wall? Yep. Well, that's not really home base, is it? This is home base. So I like to be associated with driving in a car, so that you can still watch the road. Use the headrest and you chin tuck. So everybody sit up straight in their chairs right now. And I want you to take a little active stretch with your arms, like you're reaching down and you have something on the floor you're trying to get. You can, if you can't reach on either side of your chair, you can do it with your arms bent. But you're actively pushing your shoulders down. You're going to tuck your chin like this. You can make a double chin because it's very attractive. Okay? But you should feel some stretch going on when you do that, right? We're still looking at the road, we're driving. I can still drive and do this. Guess what? And where'd you feel the stretch? There are these little muscles in the back of the skull that get short when you're here. So it stretches those and it stretches here. Okay, guess what? When you're stopped at the stoplight, tuck your chin and go, oh, what's over there? What's over there? And you stretch both ways and you go, wow, I can turn further to the left than I can to the right. That's an imbalance. Ding. Okay, just trying to figure that out. I need to give you that one. You already forgot that one. I do have contact information on my, what's it called, a business card at the back of the room. Those little things. But feel free to come and ask questions. Drop your card if you want a copy of that PDF. Bring it up. Thank you very much.